it's a crisis. It's not just 1 or 2 students lagging behind. It's 33 million across the country not reading on grade level, according to the most recent report of the National Assessment of Educational Progress. The reasons are complicated and the obstacles are large, but there is an answer. The Literacy First Comprehensive Reading Reform Process. Teachers today face some tough hurdles. They may have the passion, power, and endurance to push their class, but even great teachers admit they lack the tools, research, and a system to effect any real change.
I was in the classroom for a long time, and there were times, I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but there were times when I thought, there isn't an end in sight. I'm not so sure there isn't an end in sight. I'm not so sure I can get all these children on level. I don't feel that way anymore. And I don't think there's a person in this building that isn't seeing the light.
Literacy First empowers teachers through an effective, proven process that achieves spectacular results. Educational administrators feel the pressure too. Communities depend on them for their quality of education. But despite national and local directives and programs, there is no one-size-fits-all answer. Literacy First is a process, not a program, that works with your schools, districts, and classrooms. It helps teachers and administrators practically apply the reading research in their classrooms with easy-to-implement learning strategies.
At this time, we have SRI, Scholastic Reading Inventory, which is a norm reference assessment, and at the present time in 3rd grade, 70% of the children as of January are reading on or above grade level, and as of January, 70% of 2nd grade reading on or above grade level. And to put that in perspective, a few years ago, at the end of the year, we had less than 25% of children reading on or above grade level.
Literacy First not only provides educators with the knowledge and tools to enhance their existing reading curriculum and materials, but also the skills to transform the minds and lives of their students. The results are profound and lasting. As schools across the country have applied the Literacy First process, the real winners have been the students. No matter how young, they can be given the keys to unlock their own educational success.
I read 12 books in one day.
Literacy First is one of the most exciting, groundbreaking reading processes available to students today. Just look at some of these results from around the country. In 29 Oklahoma Literacy First schools, 82% of kindergarten, 85% of 1st grade, and 87% of 2nd grade are reading on grade level. Fannie Bush Elementary in Kentucky, with 86% free and reduced lunch, has 89% of their students reading on grade level. Riverview Elementary in Florida, with 77% free reduced lunch and 90% mobility, has had a 20% increase in students reading at or above grade level and went from a state grade of C to a grade of A. What is Literacy First? It's a comprehensive, research-based reading reform process. Just imagine a dynamic strategy that fits the needs of your classroom, schools, and districts.
It helped me become a reading specialist. Before, I really wasn't a reading specialist.
With Literacy First, educators meet the challenges and achieve results.
Despite my rank 1 from a reputable university, and despite my determination and my hard work and my dedication, I knew very little about teaching reading. And I had 9 years of experience and thought I was doing a fairly good job. But through the process, after 4 years of all this extensive training and having somebody there giving me feedback and being able to just work through it with that constant support, now I'm comfortable to say that I am a reading specialist.
Transforming and empowering. Literacy First begins within a school system and implements a dynamic plan that transforms both the infrastructure and the culture to support accelerated student reading achievement. How does the Literacy First process work? Based on the latest research gathered from the National Reading Panel reports of the subgroups and the National Research Council, as well as many other sources, Literacy First has developed a comprehensive, thorough reading process designed to accelerate student reading achievement. As is called for in the No Child Left Behind Reading First legislation, Literacy First shows teachers how to systematically and explicitly teach phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension skills.
Because I understand that literacy acquisition continuum, so there's really no guesswork as to what I'm supposed to teach or when I'm supposed to teach it. And if you follow that continuum, you can really just sort of meet kids right where they need to be, and therefore it's less frustrating to them and it's less frustrating to me. I feel more successful now teaching reading than I did before we started Literacy First, just because I can see the growth in them, whereas before I think some of it was my fault because I was hitting things, trying to do things they weren't ready for, and not doing enough of what they needed to.
In addition, Literacy First shows teachers how to form flexible skill groups using assessment data and how to create and effectively manage literacy centers. So therefore, teachers will be able to target the exact needs of students in their classrooms.
When I walk in the first day of school, I've got a room full of kids. They're supposed to be third graders. And maybe they're ready to work on third grade level, and maybe they're not. The assessment tools help me decide what word skills they need, and then even comprehension skills can be assessed through some of the assessments that we use. My lessons can then be assessment driven. I can target the students with what they need to be taught, and we can move on faster.
Teachers love Literacy First because it shows them how to apply the best research-based practices with their students. Literacy First is much more than just research and practice. It's a unique group of consultants that teams with educators to create literacy experts and instructional leaders in your school. Starting the Literacy First process is simple. After a school's professionals vote to implement Literacy First, a 3-year process begins. As early as the first year, you can see outstanding results. The 3-year process includes professional development, intensive on-site coaching, reading learning activities, assessment tools, literacy center ideas, teacher resource books, and instructional videos. The Literacy First consultant will work with the school for 38 days over 3 years. 16 of the visits are for professional development, where the consultant trains the staff on the practical application of the research-based best practices of reading instruction.
You go to a staff development and it comes back into the school and you get ongoing support for implementation. The implementation from Literacy First has been what's made it successful here.
Any given classroom has a spectrum of student ability, and the Literacy First consultant shows how to reach each student. There are 22 days for intensive on-site coaching and consulting. During these days, the Literacy First consultant will present demonstration lessons, lead grade level meetings, analyze student assessment data, coach individual teachers, and plan with the leadership team to support teachers in their efforts to cause all students to be reading on grade level.
I think of the coaching consulting days as sort of the peanut butter that sticks all the slices of bread together, because all of the training happens in increments and you get so much of it, but to really connect those pieces, you may need individual consultation with the coach so that you can implement her strategies into your classroom at your level and your building with the kids that you're teaching.
An example of how the Literacy First process works is the dramatic improvement at Turry T. Small Elementary. The school's demographics include 86% free reduced lunch, 82% minority, and 59% mobility.
There is a challenge in working with students of poverty. Our students can achieve and do achieve. Our school has gone from being a D school to an A school.
4 years ago, the principal and faculty agreed to implement the Literacy First process. Today, Turry T. Small has not only achieved a grade of A from the state, but was recognized by the Commissioner of Education as an exemplary school. Betty Powers attributes this dramatic turnaround to the full implementation of the Literacy First process by her teachers and her leadership team.
We know about theory, teachers read about theory, but when we began working with Literacy First, it gave teachers confidence in working with students. It gave teachers what they needed to be able to be successful teachers in working with students.
Certainly some teachers are already doing part of what Literacy First proposes, but Literacy First systematizes the very best practices. Teachers incorporate Literacy First to their classroom and add their own style and personality.
I'm probably one who goes with more of a flexible style, and I don't really like to do things the same way every time I teach it. And it's really a framework for literacy more than it's just a program. And so I can take the principles of Literacy First and put them into whatever text or series or trade book that I want to use.
There does not have to be a reading crisis. It can be averted. The Literacy First comprehensive reading reform process enables and equips teachers to meet the needs of all students. The subsequent accelerated learning not only gets students reading on grade level, but beyond, and makes them lifelong learners.